And good afternoon. Oh, look. Yeah. There I bashed my console at some point this morning. The camera's pointing in the wrong direction. There we go. Good afternoon. It is Saturday. It's time for retro fun and games, 8-bit style. Yes, it is. It is indeed. Commander Ariok with a Now, there was a time. Now you can try this if you have a ZX Spectrum. Because I've done this. If you can hum, right, into a ZX Spectrum, if you attach a microphone to the mic port on the Spectrum, type load ditto ditto and put it into the loading mode, and then go doo, doo, then you can make the bars appear. So try it. It doesn't work. You can't make it come up with anything meaningful. If you literally put a microphone in the back of a Spectrum and you go doo, doo, like that, the loading bars will appear. I have tried it. It is true. So there's a thing for you to try. Okay. Have I been at least in evil news? Yes, definitely. Dear, there we go. Right, so afternoon everybody. How are we all doing? Hello. Who we got? We got Kelvinator Ariok, Gamer Infinite Flight, Callie Baglar, Eggs to Bacon, all sorts of people. Awesome. Commander Sinclair is here as well. Frank Miner, Alexander Nevermind. Good. Johnny Ock is here, teasing the specky, yeah, because you can't actually, the bit where it goes, that bit, you can't. I wasn't able to put any data into that and make it come up with some words. No, that didn't work. But I was able to trigger the bars that precede the data. It's obviously, I don't know, it's some sort of tuning noise, isn't it? It tells the Spectrum something's coming. So that was quite funny. It is possible. Anyway, we're here to play some Elite, aren't we? So let's do that. Open. Right, let's go and find where were we? Let's start trying to establish where we'd got to. So we were in Galaxy 2. Right, let me get the specky on the screen. Otherwise we're talking about nonsense, are we? This is the original Elite. Yes. So you haven't seen it before, Legion. Where have you been? We've been playing this for weeks now. This is the original Elite. This is not on the original platform, I hasten to add. This is on the ZX Spectrum, which was the computer I had when I was, well, about the same height as I am now, actually. But, yeah, slightly larger, far less hair, much greyer. But there you go. Other than that, pretty much the same. This is the original Elite. So we are looking here at the short range scanner. Let's have a look at the. Where are we now? I'll do that. This is who we are. We are Commander Jameson, which we learnt about actually on the lore tour on Thursday. Who Commander Jameson was. So there's lots of lore that actually connects this game to Elite Dangerous, which we've gone through many times. We are currently a fugitive. We're bad. Okay, we're on the run, and our rating is competent after several hours of playing. I think we're about the 8-hour mark in the game at this point in time, and we have a reasonable ship. We have a reasonable amount of equipment on board, and a bit of cash. A bit of cash. Actually, for the Spectrum version, that's not a vast amount of cash, but it's enough to be getting on with most of the things that we need to be getting on with. Yeah, I hope I don't crash this time. I'll do my best. I will do my best. Yeah, so Frank Martin says if you have a good memory and you're pitch perfect, you don't need a taper. Yeah, strictly speaking, you ought to be able to. Whether you can modulate your voice fast enough to generate some data on the Spectrum, I don't know. R-tape loading error would. If you could generate an R-tape loading error, I think you'd be doing quite well back with the voice. And remember to save, yes. So we are attempting. What we're attempting to do here, Legion 4, is to trigger the missions in the ZX Spectrum version of the game. Now we believe there are 3. We've got what we think are the prerequisites for the first mission now. We're just waiting for it to trigger, but we're not quite sure exactly how and when it's going to trigger. We're trying to capture that on film, and we're doing sort of 80s nostalgia along the way. So not only have I got the original 8-bit version of the game, I have my trusty Akai keyboard just in case. We need to do anything 80s. It's all set. So chip in with anything 80s nostalgia that we go. Now our plan is is to keep flying around and see if we can trigger the missions. Now Commander Ariok, I think I saw him on the chat. So I believe we've had some thoughts about what actually triggers the supernova mission. Now, we had flown down. We arrived in Galaxy Chart 2 up in here, and we've moved our way down to here. And we weren't sure whether it was distance, i.e. number of hyperspace jumps from the entrance point in Galactic 2 that triggers the mission, or whether it's the number of kills. So we're not sure. So we're sort of doing a bit of both. Now my plan today was to sort of head west across here. So we kind of need to follow this train of stars here. Head west and see if we can pick up the... we'll just get this mission to trigger. We're not sure if it's number of kills or hyperspace jumps, and I'm getting rumbles of thunder outside again. So if my stream, this happened to me on Thursday, if my stream suddenly goes offline because of a glitch on the power, I will come back, but just be in mind, it'll take me about 5 minutes. It's just gone really dark outside, and I've just heard a rumble of thunder, so fingers crossed we won't get a power glitch, but there we go. Maybe we'll find Raxler. Who knows? I doubt it. You can pick up the BBC version from the Frontier website. So yes, if you want to experience the original Elite on the original platform, kind of, via an emulator on your PC, you can pick that up from the Frontier store. It's free. Oh, there goes the thunder. Can you hear that on the stream? I actually like thunder. I've never been streaming in a thunderstorm before. This is a new experience. Ooh, yeah. So we'll see what happens. So yes, Paul, it does have the emulator. It has everything you need to run the original game, and it's kind of licensed to be able to run it. Now there are a few gotchas. If you download it, you have to put the emulator, I believe, into BBC B one. No, not BBC B. BBC Master 128 mode for it to run Elite for some reason. I don't know why. I don't know much about BBCs actually, to be honest. So bear that in mind if you're playing it. If you run it in normal BBC B mode, which is what you would expect, it doesn't work. So yeah, got to be a supernova after that massive clap of thunder. So anyway, we will do our best. If I occasionally go offline, or there's lots of static, or there's a flash of lightning or something, then I can see a tree now outside my house blowing back and forth. So it's all quite ominous. But we'll do our best, right? So we are going to go across to let's go across to Veziadi. There we go. I don't know how you pronounce some of these places. We're going to launch out of the space station. There we go. It's actually, now it's really chucking it down with rain outside. Yeah, all that will be left of me is just a smoking hat. Here comes the rain. Oh, we've got hail. It's all happening. It's all happening outside. I wish I had a webcam. Hang on a minute. Hang on a minute. Let me just stop the game here a moment. I'm gonna pick up my webcam because this is looking quite good out there now. This is long enough to even look outside. I don't know if you can see that. It's absolutely hammering it down outside now. it's oh dear. Well, I'm glad I'm not outside. That's actually hail coming down. I don't know if you can see that on the camera. Let me put it on full screen. Hang on, there we go. Bit to camera focus. There we go. It's absolutely. It looks like snow. That's insane. That's quite insane. Ah dear. Well, that was fun. Right, let me fix. There we go. We're back. Right, let me get my camera sorted out. There we go. Spectrum. Spring weather in the UK. Where am I? I'm in the UK. Yes, this is Kent. Yeah, southeast Kent, quite near the sea. So that's what all that was. And now I've just sort of knackered my camera. I realise. Never mind. We'll get there. The green screen isn't quite. Oh, there's the thunder again. So I've got proper weather here today. So apologies for any kind of flashes of lightning and crashes and bangs in the background. There's nothing I can do about that. Ah dear, all good. Right, let's get on with playing the game, shall we? Thunder and lightning, very very frightening, etc. Hyperspace. Right, off we go. Now we are trying to get this mission to trigger, but we don't know exactly what the trigger is. All we know is that we have to be competent, which we are, We know we've had 256 kills because we got a right on commander last week. Oh dear, that's quite distracting actually, having that smashing down outside. Yeah, so we need to be competent. We have to be in Galactic Chart 2 at least. Okay, it won't trigger in Galactic Chart 1. So in the original Elite, Galactic Chart 1 is kind of your training ground. You know, so nothing too bad happens in Galactic Chart 1, but Galactic Chart 2 it starts chucking more stuff at you, which is kind of fair. So we need to be Galactic Chart 2. We need to be competent, and we need to have a galactic hyperspace drive on the ship, which we have. So we've got all the prereqs, but we think there's either a distance or a number of kills thing that we need to achieve. So that's kind of the objective. I'm going to keep pushing on through the game until such time as hopefully the mission triggers. So that's the aim. Now we are. What are we carrying? We're not carrying any cargo. So, because I'm a fugitive, I'm on a murdering spree. So what I'm going to do is actually, oh, there's lightning and thunder. It's right on top of us, I think, this storm. So there we go. I'm actually going to pick these up because these are alloys. So I'm actually trying to improve my kill count and travel distances because both of them may be mission triggers. We don't know what this is the problem. We don't know exactly what conditions trigger the mission. Nobody's ever documented it. So it's a case of blasting and right, there's some pirates, blasting and carrying on through the game as best we can. Right. So Commander Ariok thinks, oh, you were wrong in saying the missions were distance triggers. Okay. So we think it's kills. So we've been travelling a little bit of a distance. This guy's quite good. Sidewinder. So I'm just going to keep. Presuming it's a kill count, and then Commander Ariok, can you remember? Does the mission trigger as you hyperspace into a system? Is that how it works, or when you reach a space station? Is it which way round is it? Got him. Oh, it was a Sidewinder. So I'm just going to be a murder hobo basically and travel around a bit. More lightning. That's a python. So I actually really like thunderstorms. I like not sitting out in them, but watching them from the window. Oh, I've overheated my weapons. There we go. Right, pick up the cargo. Another pirate. This game's pretty unrelenting at this stage. Oh, this one's nasty. He's got a beam laser. Take that. Bit of debris from another ship. So this is actually quite a. What sort of system did we fly into here? Was it a? Oh, it's an anarchy system. So this is actually bad news. This is a system where basically you'll just keep getting attacked forever. Okay, it's jumps as you enter the system. Okay, so I need to hyperspace jump. Okay, well that's good. So let's fly around a little bit. Let's pick up some cargo because it gives us some ill-gotten gains. This is an anarchy system, so basically wherever I fly, I should get attacked. These are systems you do not come into unless you've got a decent ship because you will die. And the star will be ready. I do remember that, Commander Ariok. I remember seeing that once before. I'm pretty sure. I mean, I did play this game. I remember the Supernova mission when I played it back in the day, and I also remember the ASP one, whereby you have a weird cloaked asp, which when you kill it, it gives you a cloaking device. But I never got the last mission, which is supposedly a Thargoid invasion, which sounds actually quite cool. So this is an innocent ship, but I'm going to murder it anyway because it's in my way, and I want its cargo. So I really am being a bad boy, but I want to get up on the Imbel's wed. Okay, so that implies I need a lot more kills because I've only relatively recently got the. So maybe that's 500 kills. Okay, so I've got 200 and I get a right on command at every 256 kills, which we did achieve last week. The next right on command, therefore, should be at 512 kills. So maybe that's the trigger. In which case, I've got quite a long way to go. So let's spend today murdering stuff. And see if we can get that kill count up. That's kind of what we need to do. Get some alloys. There we go. So I've got a fuel scoop on board, which allows me to pick up cargo. I'm heading for the sun because then I can refuel without going near the space stations. But because I'm murdering everything, the space station may not let me in. Someone's doing Buck Rogers. Awesome. Yes, a couple of weeks ago we kind of went through a kind of space themes that Drew can vaguely play on his keyboard. Oh, rats! I shot the cargo. That's the only problem with this is sometimes the military laser doesn't cut off quite quickly enough, and you incinerate the cargo as well as the ship, which is a bit unfortunate. This is probably a sidewinder. Oh no, it's a crate. This is a crate Mark 1, by the way, so if you're familiar with a crate in Elite Dangerous, that's a crate Mark 2, or there's obviously the Phantom version. This is a crate Mark 1 that we're seeing in the original game, and it is quite a weak ship, relatively, compared to the Cobra Mark 3. So the crate that we see in the game is actually a much chunkier version of the original design. This is a bounty hunter. This will be a third lance, but not anymore. Okay, I'm just picking up debris here. This is alloys from a ship. Now, alloys are actually worth picking up because they're actually sort of 45 credits each. It's worth having them. Oh, that's another ship. So as you can see, basically every ship I encounter is either a pirate, pretty much. Oh, I've got to be a bit careful here. Yeah. Oh no! I ran out of energy. You got to be careful of doing that. Oh, I hate this game sometimes. Let's try that again. Right, I need to be more careful. Die on stream straight away. What ship in the current game would be most similar to Crate Mark 1? I don't know. Probably. Well, no, you can't say the Adder because the Adder exists as well. Probably something like a DBX or something like that. I don't know. Oh look, 3 pirates. Right. I'm going to have to be careful now because we need to get this kill count up and I need not to die. I need to save position every so often as well. There we go. Right, come on. 2 crates. Nice. Oh, I hate it when I shoot the cargo. There we go. Because I take my pick. I think it's basically the Spectrum slightly struggling with the frame rate, you take your finger off the fire button and the laser fires one more time. And of course, if you're aiming at where the ship was, you're very likely to be aiming at where the cargo was. Jump there, Bonnie. Something like that. It's really annoying. Let's turn around and head for the sun. There we go. So there'll be plenty of. So this is an anarchy system. Now, the way that the original game scaled its difficulty is that basically the political structure of the system. Oh, there's 2 ships behind me. Be careful of that. Let's see if I can get this guy first. The political structure of the system was such that, you know, depending on the political stability, basically, is how many enemies you got. These guys hit hard now. Calm down. So you can see, even for quite a well-equipped ship, my ship is still getting hammered quite hard. I'm going to wait here while this other ship comes in, wait for my energy banks to recharge before I try and take him on. Right, there we go. Right, once he starts firing... Oh, it's got me already. I've got to up my skills here. I need to run away. So what's quite nice is the game is still killing me. It's actually quite hard now. I need to make sure we pull away from the incoming ships. Otherwise we're not going to get anywhere. That's twice I've died, like in like 20 minutes. Ah dear. Do you get ranked for shooting the barrels? No, it's not going well so far at all. This is embarrassingly bad, actually. All right, so I need to watch my energy. So this is good. I mean, I'm an experienced elite player, would you believe? The game's killed me twice in 20 minutes with a decent ship. So this is the danger of Anarchy Systems. This game was very well balanced, actually, in the sense that you had to pay attention to, the situational awareness was really important, because even with a good ship, as you can see, if you get overwhelmed, you can be killed. There's, if you ventured into an Anarchy system like I have, you have to be prepared to be attacked basically constantly, and you have to allow your ship to recharge in between sorties, and sometimes the game will just chuck another opponent at you, and like now, actually I think that's a innocent ship, but let's go murder it anyway. My shooting's awful. I think the thunderstorm has now moved on. Oh, this one is launching. That was actually an anaconda or a rock hermit. And those crates are pretty lightweight, which is nice. There we go. Let's pick up some cargo. So I'm a pirate in a pirate-infested system. Computers, nice. 2 tons of computers. Right, I'm going to try and stay alive this time. That's an escape pod, which I can pick up and sell as slaves, which is very immoral, but all good fun. And now I need to find the star again, because I can't see it. Now I can... Right, the other thing that's a good safety device here is to have a hyperspace lock on a nearby system, just in case. I can't find the star. No, there it is. Right. The compass doesn't always help. Now look at this. I've been bracketed by at least three ships. So the way to get out of this one is to fly towards one at full volume. Right, there's 2 behind me, so I've got 4 ships on me at this point. They could easily be quite well equipped, so I've got to keep my distance and take them down one at a time as much as possible. Right, that's a sidewinder, so that should be... That's a missile. Right. Let's take this one now. Keep the throttle at full and try and get this one before the other 2 get into range, which is not going to happen. Dicey situation. I've got to now concentrate. Once you've picked a target, you've got to stay with it in this game. Got it. Alright, now pull around, get these 2, fly at them. Energy low already. I think maybe we should try and avoid an Anarchy system. This game is hard at this level. Right, okay. I'm going to rethink my strategy here. I need to... Anarchy systems are just too dangerous. That's a corporate state, so let's go there. That'll be safe. Dear oh dear. Dear oh dear. Now I used to, in my youth, be able to cope with that. But it's obviously, as a nearly 50-year-old, it's obviously beyond me. Never mind. So let's just be a murder hobo in a normal place. So yeah, run away is what I'm doing. Let's get to the planet. There we go. All right, that was easy, wasn't it? Because we need to get the kill count up, we think, in order to do this, and that's my objective. Right, I need some fuel. I can't add anything. Well, I suppose I could buy an energy bomb. Does anyone remember what the key for the energy bomb is? Yeah, when that 3rd bank gets low, it looks like it's time to jump out. That's pretty much it. Let's buy an energy bomb, because that might be fun, just in case. Does anyone know what the key is for the energy bomb on the spectrum? It's not E, that's ECM. I think it's W or something. I bought an energy bomb as well. Okay, so there we go. Right, let's figure out where we're going. Right, we're going to Quayin, which is in range. That's a Confederacy. That's not too bad, but we will be low on fuel when we arrive. So there we go. Let's go there. I'm going to be careful of anarchy systems because obviously it's E. No, it can't be E. E is ECM. Pretty sure E is ECM, isn't it? Yeah, just check. Yeah, I think it may be W. Or no, G is for galactic hyperspace jump. I don't want to press anything now because I might trigger it and it's expensive. Right, I'm still going to murder this ship because that's just a Cobra. Boom. Missile. Yeah, my overlay's over there. I haven't got the box out actually at the moment. There's some tasty cargo. Let's get and grab that. Right, I've got to stay alive. I should really have saved that last space station actually thinking about it. I'll do that when we get to the next one. Oh, that's not killed. It's W. It is W. I thought it was W. That my muscle memory was coming back, and I think yeah, W feels right. So W is the energy bomb. So if I get into serious trouble, I can trigger the energy bomb. Now the energy bomb is a totally OP weapon in the universe of Elite because it basically wipes out every other ship on the scanner. So it's basically a weapon of last resort. So actually, we could go back through an anarchy system on our way to places, knowing that we've got that. It's kind of it's like a smart bomb. You know, remember in games like Defender and things like that, which were around at this sort of time, a little bit older. You know, it's like a clear the entire level. Boom. Yeah, imagine if it was in ED. Interesting enough, according to the law of the energy bomb, the way it worked was inducing an overload in the hyperspace drives or engines, I think, of the ships. So nasty, right? Fortunately, none of the other vessels in the Elite universe had the energy bomb. Only the player. Otherwise, I suppose you could wander into a system and suddenly, boom, your game would be over, which would be a bit mean. There's a pirate very close to the system space, which is unusual. Get this missile, and then we'll get to the space station, hopefully. Let's pick up the cargo. Textiles, that's a bit dull. There we go, added the space station. Yeah, it would be a bit mean if you just got energy. You just got energy bombed. Oh, game over. Yeah, that would be a bit mean. So right, fuel is good, and I'm going to save. And let's keep heading. Now we wanted to head up. We've come down a bit actually. I wanted to get across to there, so I kind of want to go up there, but I can't get in range of those systems. So I'm going to have to go there, I think, to give me a chance to get into that system over there. So what's that? That is a Confederacy. That's relatively safe again. So yeah, putting an energy bomb on a ship. So I must remember W is my get out of trouble button. That cost me 900 credits a time, which is quite expensive for this game. Bear in mind, on Elite you start with 100 credits only and no equipment on your ship. It takes you a while to build up the cash to get a decent ship. But as you can see, I'm just murdering my way through space. Now most of, like I say, that was a trading vessel. Most of them are pretty lightweight compared to you. It's the bounty hunters that you want to worry about, which do have decent ships. Oh, narcotic. Well, actually, that's interesting. Now, this is just RNG, of course, deciding what I pick up. But interesting enough, you know, if you think about it from a role-play perspective, that was an innocent trader smuggling narcotics. So maybe I did the universe a favour. So I can justify my rampacious destruction of everything by the fact you might be carrying narcotics, which that guy was. Oh, this is an asp. I think I mentioned it before, but in the universe of Elite, an asp is an ex-military ship, not an exploration vessel as it is in Elite Dangerous. And the asp design, asp Mark 1, I'm not sure if the one we have in Elite Dangerous is called the asp Explorer, which kind of implies to me it's a later design. This one is the asp Mark 1, and while it does look similar, you know, obviously given the nature of the graphics, it is it's not quite the same. No, this is the annoying thing, right? Because this space station doesn't like me, so I can't dock, which is a faff. Because I've murdered somebody, they've taken an exception. So that's a multi-government system. So let's go there and see if they'll let me dock. So sometimes you have to backtrack around. Yeah, so ASP was smaller than the original D. Yeah, so I think it was a military vessel. There's a pirate already. And but you know, it's nice to see that Elite Dangerous has reference to the original ship. So you've got Sidewinder, that's Elite. Cobra, that's Elite. Asp, that's Elite. Crate, that's Elite. Python, that's Elite. Anaconda, that's Elite. Ships that haven't yet made an appearance are things like the Gecko and the Boa. I don't think the Moray has been seen in Elite Dangerous. No, that's not a ship. There we go, some nice juicy cargo. Ooh, more pirates appearing. And oh, there's two behind me. I hate it when it does that. Let's get this one first. So this will probably be Sidewinders or Crates at this point. They usually hunt in packs in Elite. Yeah, that's a Sidewinder. Won't last long, that's good. Right, now here's the thing. My front shield is down at this point, so I should just be cautious. Right, I'm going to keep those two to my tail for a moment while my front shield comes back up. There it goes. Something I do like in this game, which I think in some ways is missing from the Elite Dangerous, is the idea of having front and rear shields. So it does give you some tactical abilities to have a front and rear shield, because I've got a full rear shield at this point, so I can use that to give my energy banks a chance to recharge as that Sidewinder comes in behind me. It'll probably start firing on me again, which in fact it hasn't. There it goes. Right, it's now hitting my rear shield, and as the rear shield comes down, my energy banks have had a chance to recharge, which gives me the option to come around and then deal with it. So, you know, there are nice little tactical options that you can play with in this game, given the fact that you've got a front and a rear shield. There's a missile. That's no threat to me now because I've got the ECM, which is what that strange noise is. Now, Sidewinders are actually, they can be quite deadly. They're not very strong ships, but they are fast and manoeuvrable, as you can see. And the problem is sometimes dealing with them takes too long. And what that means is that other ships can come and get you. So they're really quite irritating. And they also, I mean, the game is the game, but you know, they can shoot accurately from a much further range than you can. I thought he was going to hit me with his missile there, but he didn't. Right, so at this point, with the third energy unit down, I need to not attack something until I've got power back in my ship. That's the way the original game works. 4 energy banks, 2 shields. Yeah, so later games, I mean, things like X-Wing, didn't they? They had the ability to route power from engines to shields and things. Elite doesn't have that, but at least, yeah, it's got that forward and back shield. Yeah, and you can put gun emplacements on the right and the left. I haven't done that. I have got a mining laser on the back, which is occasionally useful for pot-shotting other ships. Right, so that is a innocent Python, which is minding its own business, but that's unfortunate that it's spawned in my my part of the woods. And because it's facing away from me, it's not even going to get a shot in before it dies, I don't think. There we go. So yes, the murdering continues. There we go. Right. So somebody was putting a comment in. No rear laser. Yes, yes, I do have a rear laser. Yes, so I could use that, but I find flying backwards. Now there is actually a kind of a cheat on the Spectrum. I think if you pause the game and there's a button you can press which swaps the axes around, so you can actually fly your ship backwards. Which means when you're looking backwards, you can effectively fly normally. If that makes sense. So that's quite good. Now, Elite Dangerous obviously is used the pip balancing system, which I do quite like, the ability to transfer different levels of power to different systems. So that stuff is fun for tactical play, you know, giving you opportunities for those things. But I do like the idea of front and rear shields, and I think I'm right in saying that it was considered for Elite Dangerous early on. Certainly, I remember some of the the early, really early, pre-game videos, having the concept of ships having multiple shields, possibly up to maybe even 4, so you could have left and right shields, and if one went down, you could transfer power and all those kind of cool things. Those never happened, but this is a Cobra, which will start firing missiles at me, as you can see. They're inconsequential to the ECM. Was there a ship that was faster backwards in Frontier Elite? I don't know. Don't recall that. I know some of them had some design flaws, which meant they didn't actually work properly. There we go. I managed to dock with the space station this time. Have you played the Russian hack of Elite 3 on the Spec? No, I haven't. I have noted it though, so I will definitely give that one a go at some point. Right, fuel. Right, so I'm going to save my game because I'm learning. There we are. And look, we can't quite get to. It's right just out of range, literally just out of range. So we're going to have to go through this system in order to get there. We need to get up to that part of the chart. One of the things that's in the original game is that the maximum jump distance is 7 light years. You can't extend it. There's no way to improve it. 7 light years is all you get, and you can jump at less than that, but you can only jump maximum of 7 light years, which does give you that. Right, I'm going to have to be good because this system seems to take affront to me murdering its populace. So I'm going to leave that ship this time. And what that may mean, I'm still fugitive at the moment, but I'm a slightly more well-behaved fugitive. Can watch the Cobra go past. There it is. Than I was before. So two-dimensional thinking. There we are, Frank Miner. That's from Star Trek: The Wrath of Khan, of course. So yes, two-dimensional thinking. We don't do that. I'll just wait for the Cobra to disappear off the rear screen. Once it despawns, we can accelerate on the Taurus drive once more. So the Taurus drive is quite like the frameshift drive in many ways, leading to speculation that the technology of this era, which if you know your lore, and you've been following my lore streams, you'll know that the lore and the level of technology actually dropped between this game and the 2 subsequent games, Frontier Elite 2 and Frontier First Encounters. Hyperspace slowed down significantly, and intra-system travel became, you had to do it in on conventional engines only and use time compression to get there. Look, there's another dodgy pirate. Whereas in this era, which is pre that, we've got a sort of inter-system drive which allows us to fly around quite happily at super duper speeds. And this is the Galcop era. And the other 2 games, by the point you get to them, Galcop has collapsed, and that technology appears to have been lost. So you regress a little bit until you get to Elite Dangerous and the frameshift drive, which brings you back to the same sort of level of things. Now that's obviously all mostly just about the gameplay of the games, but the lore does explain why it is the way it is, which I always find quite interesting. Right, now we should. Yes, it was still out of range. 6.8 light years. It's right on the edge. There we go. We can make it. So let's save. So yeah, put a military laser on. Well, I've kept I've kept a mining laser on the back simply because occasionally, it's useful to be able to mine something. I've demonstrated that a couple of times. So, right, what sort of system are we in? This is a dictatorship, so it won't be too bad. That allows us to travel up around this spur here, which will be quite good. Good. Okay, so that's good. Full speed on the main engines, take us into the station. Now what we could do here is do a Thargoid run. For those of you who haven't seen it, I think a lot of you have. Now all I've got to do is be a bit careful. What I might do is save it every time I kill a series of Thargoids, because that's a very fast way to up your kill count and get quite a lot of money, which actually will be quite useful. And what you want is two systems separated by a very short distance. So I think that's going to be my plan for a bit, and see how many Thargoids I can murder with the ship. It's relatively risky because you quite often die, but what I'll do is I'll return to my save if I do, and I'm guaranteed quite a lot of kills by doing that. And we're not sure whether or not the Spectrum version values certain types of kill above other types of kill. I'm not convinced it does, but there's some speculation. I think Commander Ariok might want to lean in on that one, as to whether or not you get more points for a Thargoid than you do for other ships. It's not entirely sure. Notice I've dropped to Offender now because I've been good for a couple of rounds. Then it plays me off. So it doesn't. Okay, so that was a mistake. So we don't think that's good. Okay, so that's interesting. But it is a guaranteed way to get some money and some kills. So let's give it a whirl. What I'm going to do is I'm going to sell the cargo I've got on board because I don't need that. So let's do that. Might as well. 3, 2, 2. 2 tons of narcotics, always nice. And 4 tons of alloys. There we go. So that's made me a little bit of money. Right. So we lock our destination onto. Let's bring that back. There. Now I have to pause the game in a minute, so I'm going to save before we do this. Great being able to save your position instantly on the emulator. Dragoneye says 1,000 hours playtime, never had to do it before. I misread the route. Oh, the fuel rats. Yeah, no, they're good guys. I got myself rescued by them once. I kind of deliberately ran out of fuel, not kind of on purpose, in order to see what the process was like, so I could put it in Premonition. So there is a fuel rat rescue in Premonition, which I kind of engineered a bit because I wanted to engineer it in the lowercase e sense. Because I just wanted to see how it worked. So some lucky fuel rat, who I can't remember who it was now, but totally at random got picked by me to rescue me, and they got immortalised in the book. Right, in order to get the Thargoid stuff to happen, I've got to put the game into pause, press a special button, and then come out. Now, when I have space now, we will get Thargoids instead. So fingers crossed, I can survive this. But it's interesting, we don't think it's going to give us any extra points, so that's one down. That's 2 down. It's quite a high risk strategy, as you can see. There's the other one. Should be able to get these guys. Boom! There we go. All Thargoids destroyed, and I've got quite a nice lot of materials to gather up here. I think that's just alloys, actually. Not very particularly interesting. But there are a couple of Thargons out there as well, which are the little remote controlled ships that the Thargoids shoot out in order to defend themselves against you, which is quite a nice little game mechanics, quite similar to what we see in Elite Dangerous again. I think I just missed that. I missed that alloy. There it is, over there. I do need to, because the problem is they do float out of range quite fast, so I need to get on these and pick them up before they do that. And I'll get some alien items, which is quite good. So let's see if I can scoop this one. It's running it. It's flying at quite a speed actually. I hope the other one doesn't run out of range before I get it. It's going to be quite tight actually. This is the Thargon. Now the Thargon becomes inactive when you kill the mothership, so it's quite yeah, they're quite a threat when the mothership is around, because if a Thargoid is a Thargoid mothership is about, then the Thargons are active. The moment you destroy the Thargon motherships, then the Thargons just become dead. They're sort of remote controlled craft, a bit like the swarm that you get in Elite Dangerous, which attacks you if you've ever tried taking on a Thargoid in Elite Dangerous. Oh, that's a bit boring. That's just a piece of alloy as well. Right, so let's save the game there. And if I try and hyperspace back, because I've got that mode enabled, it will just chuck me into Thargoids again. And it will keep doing that until such time as I turn it off. Come on, full speed. Oh, no, that is not good. So I'm going to reload that. I hate it when it does that. Because you can pick up damage. Yep. No, so we're trying to trigger this mission. Definite cheat there, yes. So, sorry, absolute exploit going on. Oh, yeah, hitting me hard this time. So this is why it's risky. This is not going to work. I'm going to... Oh, no. I think we'll go back to my previous load. This was not a good idea. Let's go back here. Turn that mode off. I think if it is literally just... Let's go onwards rather than back. If it's literally just kill count, and one kill is one count, we just need to keep murdering our way through space and travelling, I think, and hopefully this mission's going to trigger. So those of you who haven't seen the Thargoid invasion, that's the sort of Thargoid hyperdiction, I suppose, in Elite. So I just literally just need to be murdering my way around. Now that encounter you can force on the Spectrum by that sort of cheat mode, but it did occasionally happen anyway, but it wasn't very common. I don't recall how often it definitely did occur, but it didn't. I think you kind of tended not to get it until you were sort of elite or dangerous or deadly or something. And again, without going through the code, it's not entirely clear what triggers what in the game. We've got pirates. So is this? I bet this is an anarchy system, right? Okay, now let's. What I'm going to do then is be as careful as I can in here and save every so often, because we don't want to lose our kill counts that we built up. Because this can be quite nasty. Because we can't really hit these ships until they turn into like that, the actual wireframes. Here's the tactics on this one. Now there is another ship coming in, but what you do, you've got to fly a little bit defensively for a bit. Keep it behind you until your energy units are recharged, and then turn around and get it. So I'm gonna have to be tactical. I think now an anarchy system will give us the kills we want, but they are dangerous because if we get jumped, there are some ships in the game that are faster than we are, and effectively can keep us within range of their weapons. You can see even with one ship, it can hit you. They can hit your shields quite hard now. So that was okay. So the trick here is once you scoop the cargo, then again you get spawned another one already. But I'm going to hold still with my engines off basically until my shields are up. So I've got to be clever. I've got to fly defensively even though I'm a pirate. And so situational awareness, like in any combat situation, is a good thing. Now, as you saw at the beginning of the game, I was being a bit too blasé, and the game punished me, which I think is good gameplay design. This is a cobra, by the way. There we go, got him. Okay, so again, took shield down. Now the problem I have is when it's spawning more alien. Okay, so what I shouldn't do at this point is charge in. Okay, now I've also got to look at it. You can see that one of those is flickering slightly. That means there are two ships there, which I go and point in that direction. And they will head towards me pretty fast. So I don't really want the one that's on my right to get into range. There go my front shields already. It's not really worth me firing until I can see the wireframes. You can hit them, but it's not easy to do so. So I'm going to actually throttle back and try and get this one before, there we go, before he turns away. And since I'm here, I might as well, before I turn around, just try and do a maneuver and pick up the thing. Now the other one's behind me. I've got to get him into range. Here he goes again. Fly past him. Ah, he ran me. This game is hard. It is hard. Quick load. Alright, there we go again. I thought I was doing alright there. Dear oh dear. Right, have I switched the Thargoid thingy off or not? Let's find out. I can't remember. I think I just went the wrong way as well. I think I did. Let's just find out. I've got a feeling that Thargoid thing is switched on. Yeah, it is. Let me switch that off first. Right. And we went up. There we are. Right. We got this is the way to. I'm gonna have to concentrate. Really, maybe I got missiled. It was difficult to tell. I didn't. Was there an incoming? Was there an incoming missile warning or something? I didn't see it. Maybe that flickered briefly, so I was trying to concentrate. So again, situational awareness. Okay, I've got to be as careful as possible. But you can see this game is still a challenge even today. You know, I've got everything on the ship I need. I should have hit the energy bomb, shouldn't I? But it seems such a waste to use an energy bomb on a sidewinder. But yeah, needs must. Oh, I shot a missile down. That's always a high point. Could have been a missile at point blank range. It was difficult to tell. They do that. They do that. The AI will shoot missiles at you when it thinks it's got an advantage, which is quite often at point blank range. So I sometimes trigger the ECM to avoid that, as a kind of preemptive move. Now that's actually an innocent ship. Okay, we're just after kill counts now, so let's murder and pillage. It's an anarchy system, so what does he expect? Oh, somebody saw a brief glimpse. It could have been a missile. Okay, so maybe he missiled me at point blank range, which is a good move. Okay, so I can't argue with his tactics. So again, so every so often, once I get out of a decent scrap, then I will save the game. And we're trying to preserve the kill count progress because we want this mission to trigger. There we go, another ship down. I don't mind making a bit of money on the side, of course, but yeah, there we go. Let's keep pushing on. See if we can get this Supernova mission to trigger. I mean, by the time we get it, it's going to be a complete anticlimax, of course, because everyone's going, "Oh, is that it?" And literally, all that happens is I think you have to fly to the space station at a certain given time, pick up something, and then fly away again. But it's cool. You see it. You see the mission. Interesting enough, for Commander Ariok, roughly how long do you feel you were playing before the Supernova mission triggered? And like I say, maybe the next right on commander is the actual trigger for it. Let's see, it's chucked more ships at me again. Right, so what have I got here? I've got one ahead of me, at least. Okay, so there's 3 ships. Okay, right. So these again will be crates and sidewinders, but as you can see, they're quite dangerous in combination. That one's got in range. Right. If you can hit the sidewinders, you're doing good. Again, it's whacking down my shields. Gotcha. Excellent. Right, one left. That's possibly the crate, given it's coming in slightly slower. Yep, there we go. Right, there we go. Right, so this time I need to wait before I move anywhere and get my shields up. Oh, narcotics. We always like that. So sit still. Which sort of, because you generally find the pirates only spawn when you use the tourist drive. There we go, the shields are coming back up, so I will save it there, preserve that, so we can move on. This will be a bounty hunter in a Ferdilance, so generally they spawn in front of you and just come barreling in straight at you. Yep, Ferdilance. That's because I am... Actually, no, that looks like a Viper. Yeah, it is a Viper. This is a police ship. So now I'm murdering the cops. And that was a missile as well, I think I got there. That's always nice. So just literally flying around at the moment, murdering anything that comes along. So 2 pirates bracketing me. The worst thing I've seen on the Spectrum, I think it can spawn a maximum of 5 pirates at you. So I think that's the worst I've ever seen. There we go. 2 is usually absolutely fine. 4 is when it starts getting interesting because it can get a bit stressy, as you've seen me die a few times. This is like... so this is slightly annoying when it spawns an extra ship. Sometimes it's just a trader, which means it's okay, it won't do anything until I attack it. But occasionally it will spawn another pirate while you're in the midst of fighting the ones you've already got, which is really annoying. So that one's okay. The nice thing, of course, I can save, because the Spectrum save files are effectively just a snapshot of memory. Haven't heard any keyboard intermissions yet. No, I should do some of those. I was just thinking, we normally have a topic actually. What time is it? It's coming up for 2 now, isn't it? We normally have a kind of... Oh, now I've got troubles because that's not what I thought it was. It's spawning all sorts of ships at me. This was a mistake. There we are, I've got that one. Now I've got 2 sidewinders. Missile. Never nice. Got that one. Right. Okay, so stop firing at me. Dodge around a bit. See if I can get behind them. There's that sidewinder. I hate sidewinders. Gotcha. Whew. Yeah, the game's got my attention right now. That is a bounty hunter. That's a Ferdilance flying around there, coming to kill me. He's after the bounty on me, and that's actually potentially quite a nasty ship. So yeah, so we normally have a topic. I was thinking maybe some musical interludes because obviously there's all the pop songs and things from the 1980s as well. So there's a couple of those that I thought I would definitely. Maybe let's just go around. I don't know if these guys have got missiles or not. I can't remember where the Ferdilance. Don't very often fight these in. Sort of should, you'd expect. There's a missile. There we go. 2 missiles from a Ferdilance. That doesn't do him any good. And they tend to only fire when they're getting desperate. So, oops. Ow. Careful of that. Don't ram a piece of debris if you can help it, because that rips a shield and an energy bank away, which is pretty fatal. Right, let's just let that recharge. Now this could be another asteroid, or that could be an anaconda. It's impossible to tell on the Spectrum version. It was an asteroid. There we go. So anyway, so brief interlude. So there's no risk actually. No, I was thinking, stuff that was around at this time was things like Oh, who remembers OMD, things like this? Something like that, anyway. Enola Gay, that's it. Yeah, OMD. So that's a big favourite of mine. I like that sort of stuff. Still listen to that actually. And then there's was it Depeche Mode, of course. Oh, we've got pirates coming in. Better get off the keyboard. Deal with the pirates. Come back to it. We'll come back to Depeche Mode in a moment. And the good thing is my playing is so bad that it doesn't get picked up by copyright infringement. Which I suppose I should be slightly insulted by actually, but hey, what can you do? But yeah, so there was a lot of good music around in that time. I mean, there's good music all the time, of course, but very, very kind of 80s-y stuff. You just can't get enough of Depeche Mode. I see what you did there. Little sidewinder with a pulse laser, right? So let's just save that again. So yeah, so that's what was that there? That's just can't get enough, isn't it? Oh, you get no peace. I just want to play my keyboard. Bloody ship comes along and shoots me. Stop attacking me. He's trying hard, this guy. Ah. Oh, that was close. So that's a bounty hunter, and he is yeah, he came very close to killing me there. Well, I wasn't looking, playing the keyboard. Take that, you. Excellent. So yeah, let's just let that recharge again. So anyway, I've probably done enough in that again, but that's the sort of that sounds attracting them. Don't like your playing. That's probably very, very true actually. So and what was it? Was it Electric Dreams by Human League? Something like that, isn't it? Yeah. So done them space songs. Oh yeah. French dude on synth. Jean-Michel Jarre. Jean-Michel Jarre. Right, hang on, there's a ship behind me. Let's go murder that. We'll do some Jean-Michel Jarre. Yes, that was... Did anybody go... I went to one of Jean-Michel Jarre's concerts in... I think it must have been 87 or 88. The Docklands concert. Did anybody else go to that? That was great. That was the... You know, I think the second or the third concert I'd been to. My dad came along with me because he liked Jean-Michel Jarre music. Oh, actually, that's not a ship. That's just a piece of debris. Okay, that's good. Let's just point back. Yeah, hang on. Jean-Michel Jarre. Now, Jean-Michel Jarre, if you don't know Jean-Michel Jarre, his album Oxygen is the perfect accompaniment for space games. Okay, so ambushed by pirates. Right, hang on. Let's save this because this looks like it's going to be a furball. It's the problem with the Anarchy system. You don't get a chance to stop. Oh, shot at range. Now that's elite material. That is. Got him. That's going to be disappointing for them. I've still got my almost. I hate it when it does that. Ah, I lost my docking computers. That's mean. That's expensive as well. You rotters. So this is the game upping the difficulty a bit. Ow. Missile. Oh. I'm going to do that again because that was... Glad I saved it there. Alright, let's try again. I know I'm cheating, but we're cheating for an honest reason. Trying to get... Oh, see, this is not going as well this time already. Lost my fuel that time. Oh, I've got one. Ow, 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 ow. I've got to dodge. Come on. No, I'm not going to make it. This is hard. Right, try again. Let's get the other guy first. Doesn't seem to matter which one I choose. The others seem to be in range. Maybe I've saved it too late. I've got to fight my way out of this furball. Ideally, without using the missiles. Fuel leak again. Right, I'm not going to fire on this one because I need to get in behind him and let my shields come back up. I need some energy. Look, completely shattered shields. So I'm not going to fire him because he'll fire a missile at me. I don't want that. Right, now I've got a little bit of shield strength back. I can have at him again. Gotcha, little rotters. Right, what I'm going to do is try and get to the space station, then we'll do Jean-Michel Jarre. Because I'm not going to make it otherwise. Right, I'm going to save that. For some reason you don't get to see the menu that pops down, but there we go. Energy bomb. I could have energy bombed it, but I was trying to avoid it. Now I lost all my fuel there, but that's not too much of a problem. Right, I'm going to have to fight my way to this space station. So let's do that. Let's get to the space station, then we can have another musical interlude. Because I'm not going to let the problem with an anarchy system is I'm just not going to be left in peace on the way in. It just isn't going to happen. This looks like Cobra, I think. It should be. The Cobra is quite a nice, easy target to be honest, because it's quite a big ship. It's one of, you know, in the Elite universe, it's actually one of the bigger ones, other than the Anaconda asteroidy thing. Computer's nice, we don't mind that. Yeah. So literally just going to murder our way into the space station. I think hopefully an anarchy system will be able to dock. That was just another part. We're getting close to the space station, which is good. Oh, there was a little brief flicker of the S there. Sometimes you can get that on the screen and hit the docking computer and sort of teleport yourself out of trouble, which is nice. Oh, they do hit hard now though. Gotcha, you rotter. Let's get that alloy there. Right, almost. Right, see that little S flickering out? Oh, I missed it. Should be a little bit more. There we go, made it. Yes. Skywire, hello there. How are you doing? I'm doing very well. I'm doing very well. Other than the fuel leak, as you saw there, we're not doing too bad. We're not doing too bad. Oh, I need to. No, not that one. Where's my? No. Where's the cargo hold? It's not that one. Which button is it? Yeah. Let's enter. There we go. Right. One. Sell all this. Set ourselves up for the next bit. So we haven't triggered the mission yet. But we had a bit of cool stuff on board. We now got 7,000 credits. So yeah, that's all right. I don't think there's anything we can buy at this point in time. That's kind of worth buying. No, not really. I've got the fuel. Right, let's save the position. Right, quick Jean-Michel Jarre interlude. So yeah, so if you don't know Jean-Michel Jarre, he's I guess he must have been born in the 50s. I think he's still alive. French composer, very very good on synths. Had a massive hit in the 70s with Oxygen, and yeah. So this is not doing justice to his music at all, but very very cool tracks. it kind of goes on like that, but it's much more. It's much better than that. But check out Oxygen if you haven't listened to Oxygen, because it's pretty old now. It's a 70s album, but it's perfect for space. Okay, it's absolutely perfect for space games. It's got that sort of kind of, you know. Oh, Magnetic Fields is. How does that one go? That sort of. No, that's Oxygen I'm thinking of. Magnetic Fields is. Oh, I can't remember how that goes. Zoo's pretty good. Videos, yeah. So then you've got Equinox. Is sort of like this, isn't it? Something like that, and anyway, so that's quite good. But the one that he's most famous for, I suspect, is the Rendezvous album, which is Rendezvous 4. Actually, always number 4. It tends to be an upbeat track. I don't know if that's a Jean-Michel Jarre signature thing, but you know, track number 4 is always the upbeat one, and Rendezvous is this one. I've got the keys wrong. There you go. And it's sort of a. Something like that, anyway. Equinox, Magnetic Fields, they're all good. They're good. Retro, mate. So yeah. So this is my little. This is a tiny little arcade keyboard. It's miniature, but I just use it for putting melodies in. I actually have a proper piano downstairs, but obviously that's not very portable, so I can't bring it up here. You know, so that sort of stuff is good. And then, so we had Depeche Mode, wasn't it? So that was that was good. Oh, Vienna! I don't know if I'd have to go and play that. Let's see if I can work that one. Yeah, but Ultravox was good. That was good. Ultravox was awesome stuff. So Depeche Mode, Human League, OMD we did, didn't we? So that's good. And Jean-Michel Jarre. Oh, Vangelis. Did he do? Was Vangelis the? I'm trying to remember. I don't think Vangelis did. The one I'm thinking of is a different one. This one, maybe it is Vangelis. Tell me. See if I can't even remember the name of the tune, but it goes like this. Something like that. Anyway, I can't remember. Is that Vangelis? That's Albedo. Tangerine Dream. Oh yeah, see, that's getting a bit later. That's the. I haven't learnt that one yet. Actually, that's what the theme tune from Tangerine Dream did. The theme tune to that motorbike thing. What was that? Eurythmics. Yeah, no, I do like it's all sorts of stuff. I'm gonna have to learn a few more of these in my kind of in the week, see if I can pick some up. So yeah, so I'm not sure if that's Vangelis or not, but that's quite good. Yeah, so it's all good stuff. What else did I this week? But things like that. Chariots of Fire. Oh yeah, Chariots of Fire. Yeah, so that was good. Can I do the Blade Runner field? That's just sort of like that. I don't think I can play fast enough. Yeah. So my Goldfield. What was the other one? That's my Goldfield. I can't remember the tune. What's this song? Oh, Moonlight Shadow. Thank you very much. It was driving me potty. I could hear it in my head. I was like, I'm sure that's Mike Oldfield. Classic 80s tunes. So that's great. Oh, Axel F. Well, I did play that the other week, but let's do that again because that is a favourite of mine. It's a lovely one to play. Yeah, it definitely was Moonlight Shadow. Yeah, you're quite right. So Axel F is sort of actually it's got a bass line, so which I can't. This keyboard's only 2 octaves. So let me do the bass line on its own, which is like this. So that's the bass line. That sort of keeps rolling round. And then you kind of got the main theme, which is boom boom boom. And then you've got a sort of refrain which is higher up, so I have to press a button to make the octave go up. Oops, wrong way. Let's try to move the octave around by a button, which really kind of does your head in as a musician. Not that I am a musician, but there we go. Anyway, that's enough of that for the moment. We should crack on because we still haven't triggered the mission. Have I saved? I don't know if I've saved. But yeah, so we've always discussed some of the stuff that's around this era of the game, and there's lots of iconic stuff that I just associate with Elite, which is things like Axel F and all that sort of music. So it's quite nostalgic. Fade to Grey. Who was that by? Was that? Is that Ultravox? No. Fade to Grey. Yeah. I can't remember who that's by either. Visage! Oh yeah, Visage. Oh, I've got to dig out some of them. I've got these albums. I've got to dig out some of these albums now. It's that noise you can hear, by the way, is the rain again. It's come back. It's now chucking it down outside the house again. Let me just gonna go for full screen direct to camera. Okay, look, because it's absolutely hammering it down, getting out there. Really quite dramatic sort of stuff going on. It's sort of hail and yeah, I suppose it's probably just normal British weather for this time of year, but it's making one hell of a racket outside. Oh, I'm under attack! Ah! Then keep your eyes off the screen. Ah, I can't get any control. This game doesn't let off for a minute, does it? Dear oh dear. Right, come on in. Want a piece of me, do you? Well, you're going to have to get up pretty darn early in the AM. I put the keyboard away and everything. That'll be a sign. Oh no, it's a crate again. Which way are you going? You're going that way, are you? Alright, so I'm going to tuck in behind you. Hopefully. Yes. You're doomed. Dive away, but it's not going to do you any good. Boom. I'm even pointing at the planet at the end. Oh, narcotics. We like a bit of narcotics. Okay, so what sort of system have we done? Another anarchy system. Right, I've got the energy bomb this time. So let's fight our way to the planet again, see if we can do that. Because that does us a
cup of tea appeared.
Oh! Wife has appeared in the midst of combat.
What do you mean tea in the midst of combat?
Tea in the midst of combat. Not sure, that's a very good protocol, to be honest. Highly distracting when a cup of tea is on your dashboard in the midst of... I do love my wife, she's funny. Actually, for those of you who don't know, in about 2 weeks, actually, on the 6th of June, we're having a special Saturday stream. So there won't be an elite Spectrum stream. I think it's 2 or 3 weeks. Must be down to 2 weeks by now. On the 6th of June, you're all very welcome to come along. But I'm not going to be doing a elite playthrough. I'm actually going to be celebrating my 25th wedding anniversary with said Mrs. Drew, who you just sort of saw deliver a cup of tea. Obviously, because she's my wife. That's how these things work. And so, oh, look at this. It's just chucked me a bunch of weapons. I'm not even going to get to enjoy my cup of tea straight away. Right, onwards we go. Right, so let's do some murdering. Get rid of these pirates. Oh, more thunder. So we've got weather. We've got pirates. We've got 80s nostalgia. Very, very bad synth playing. Cup of tea. What else could you want on a Saturday afternoon? Probably not the sensiblest thing to do. Oh, he's up there. I thought he was lower down. Dun 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 dun. One of the things you'll notice me, I ought to start doing actually, because I don't think I've even shown you how this works. Let me show you here. I've not been using missiles, and oh, hang on, I won't show you here because now suddenly I'm on attack from another ship. Let's turn around. One of the things I don't tend to use very much in the original is the missiles, and there's a reason for that. Is because they're really, really rubbish. So I'll show you how rubbish they are by firing one at this ship. Okay, so I don't think you've even seen me launch a missile before because I just know they don't work. Most of the time they won't hit the target, and that the reason for that is actually down to maths. Okay, so here we go. Missile away. Okay, now watch. It's almost certain not to hit. So I'm going to give it a chance. There you go, look. It's where's it going? So the missile will probably fly around for yonks now, being a danger to both me and the other ship. So missiles on elite are almost entirely useless unless... Let's see, it's still flying about. Unless you don't move. Okay. Now the reason for that is very simple. Is that the game, unlike Elite Dangerous and more modern games, where the universe is effectively static and your ship is moving within the universe, in Elite, the way the maths works to keep it simple for these early computers is that your ship doesn't move at all, okay? And the entire universe and everything in it is recalculated and moves around you. Now what that means is that if you don't move, then the computer only has to make very simple calculations because the other ships will just do what they're told. And so will the missiles. But if you are, the moment you maneuver, you complicate the maths for the interception code in the AI for the missiles, which means that if you maneuver your ship, the moment you start maneuvering, you effectively screw up the interception So your missiles are only good if you don't maneuver. Which is a small weakness, obviously, in a missile design. Is we can fire the missile, but it won't hit unless we don't move our ship. This is actually interesting. I may have to run away again here because I've got some bad guys over on that quarter over there. I really want my cup of tea. So, yeah. So if you'll notice that if you fire a missile at a ship, if you don't maneuver, then it will probably hit, but they're no use in the midst of combat because you're ducking and diving about, and then the interception code simply doesn't work. It can't work out quickly enough where to turn the missile, so it never hits unless you're at point blank range, which is about the only time when a missile... Oh, now I've got 3 of them on me again. Got that one. Where's the other one? So this is when the UI gets quite mucky. It's quite hard to see what's going on. Let's slow down. Where's the other ship? That's a cargo canister. There it is. Boxy sidewinder. Come here, you. Gonna kill ya. Yes. Right, let's stop and pick up some debris. Oh, no. Oh, that is... Yeah, I thought that was an asp for a moment. But it's not. It's a cargo canister. It's okay. Panic over. Radioactive is always nice. Now, I thought there was another pirate on the edge of the scanner, but it seems to have decided to run away, which is not necessarily a bad thing. There we go. So yeah, dumbfire missiles, that's the only way to do it, is to hit the opponent at point blank range when he's coming towards you, because then there's very little possibility for the ship to go and get out of the way. So you have to be very selective in Elite. When lovely cup of tea. Earl Grey, who played good sim. No, I do like Earl Grey. That's not an Earl Grey. I do like Earl Grey, but that's a more traditional breakfast tea. Yeah, I should really have tea Earl Grey hot, shouldn't I? Mix my genres a lot. Let's be a bounty hunter. Right, let's try a missile again. He's probably got an ECM actually. Let's find out. It might be a Viper. Now, if I try not to complicate the approaching vector, it might work. Is it going to work? Yes. See? If you don't maneuver, or don't maneuver much, then you're okay. Start doing any complicated twisty-turny stuff, you've had it. So there we go. So you've seen me fire a couple of missiles. There you go. They kind of do work. It's quite satisfying to fire missiles and things, isn't it? Missiles away, you know, all that sort of stuff. How far have I got? Well, we're still on the killing spree, Pete. We haven't seen the mission yet. We're just trying to build up enough. There we go. Let's get to the space station. That gives us a good save point. I can have a cup of tea. Is that a fedora hat? Yes, it is. It is indeed a fedora hat. My traditional hat. It's sort of my writing hat, really, but I tend to wear it for my streams now because it's just become a thing. So what we're trying to do, we're trying to murder and pillage our way across Chart 2, trying to get this Supernova mission to trigger, but of course we don't know what the triggering criteria is. It may just be numbers of kills, and so we're just going on. Just going on. This one is a felt one, which is very comfortable to wear. I can thoroughly recommend a felt one. And as I get older, you see, my thing is that in the back of my head, I'm aware that my dad, bless him, back in 2012, died of. He was 72, so he wasn't super old. Died of skin cancer. And you know, 72, and I'm nearly 50 now. So when you start getting a bit older, those of you who are young, you won't have to worry about this for a bit. But as you start getting older, you start realising there are probably, you get to a point, I think, when you realise there are probably fewer years ahead than there are behind. I'm going to be 50 in August. But I'm healthy. There's nothing. I've got no major health problems or anything like that. But you do get conscious of these things. Pete, you found out what the triggering criteria is last night. Oh, do spill the beans. Then we know. Then we know what. We know what we're aiming for. So yeah, sorry, Dragon Eye, for depressing you there, but it's just one of those things. Okay, so my grandfather died at 71. My father died at 72, and I'm 50. I'm going to be 50 this year. And so I partly wear a hat, partly because I like wearing hats, but partly because it keeps the sun off your head, right? And that can only be a good thing. I don't like heat, and I don't like I like a sunny day, but I don't like the heat. So anything above about 22 degrees centigrade, and I'm getting this is too hot. So actually, a lot of people complain about the British weather. I rather like it because it's actually not too dangerous. And I don't like heat. I can't sleep in it. I'm actually, for those of you who know, I'm actually Canadian by birth. Not that really means anything, but I suspect I'm slightly genetically more inclined to cold weather than I am hot, if that's a thing. And it's very practical in the rain. A lot of people go out, with umbrellas and I hate hoods. Hoods I absolutely detest. I don't like my vision or my hearing being constrained. Whereas a hat, it's brilliant at keeping. All you have to do is tilt it slightly, and the rain will slosh away. Your head is entirely dry, and so do your shoulders and everything else that you're wearing. As long as you've got a decent raincoat, a hat is actually really practical in the rain. Everyone thinks it's not, but it's actually supremely practical for rain. So I can thoroughly recommend a hat. Okay, hats should make a comeback. Not many people wear it. Now, strictly speaking, as a gentleman, you shouldn't be wearing a hat indoors. But I'm in space, so I'm a pirate, a space pirate. So of course I'm wearing a hat. And I tend to wear a hat to conventions because people, after all these years, have kind of got used to me wearing a hat and don't recognise me if I don't have a hat on. So. So that's it's part of the uniform now. And whenever I go out, I just put on a hat, So it's a thing. And generally, I don't wear a hat indoors because you've got to be a gentleman, right? But for the stream, I wear my hat, and I like wearing my hat. It's comfortable. Hats in cars are a dead giveaway of a terrible driver. I'm probably not the best driver, to be fair. So I don't tend to wear a hat in a car, actually. That would be a bit weird. And I can't wear a hat in my MX-5. For those of you who know, I've got a supercharged MX-5, which is as mad as a box of frogs. Because your hat would get ripped off. Very, very sharpish. I suppose I could wear one of my other cars, but I don't really. Why would you want to wear a hat in a car? That doesn't make a lot of sense. So I tend to have a very very trendy. Well, at least it was trendy baseball cap for driving in my MX-5, which will stay on my head. But unfortunately, fedoras and things like them generate too much lift at speed. It has been tried and failed. Fortunately, I did retrieve said hat when it was ripped off my head in my MX-5. But it's not recommended. Want to know more about the MX-5? What generation? It's a Mark 1, so the NA version, which is the one with the pop-up headlights, for those of you who don't know what that looks like. So the original MX-5, basically. It is one of the earliest 1.8 versions. Really, really early, about 1992 or 93. So it's very early. It is British Racing Green, of course, because reasons. Whoa, that was a really close crate. But because the MX-5 is a bit, it's got that whole hairdresser's car thing about it that is completely unfair, actually. And I must admit, I used to rib people who had MX-5 for it being a hairdresser's car. Actually, it's the exact opposite of a hairdresser's car because it would be utterly useless for anybody who did care about their hair, because of course the moment the roof comes down, you've got massive turbulence around you. There we go. This is unusual for a Ferdinand just to be sitting there. Oh well. There we go. On our way. So yeah, I should. Am I fading away? No, I'm good. I've got my tea. So yeah, so MX-5s are not hairdressers cars. They are actually very, very good drivers cars because they have no safety features on them whatsoever. Particularly the original ones, the one that I've got with the pop-up headlights. There's no. Well, you do have powered steering. That's the only thing you do have, which I suppose would count as a driver aid. Have to watch this. Might trigger that energy bomb. Gotcha. Yeah, you have no driver aids at all. Okay, you've got power steering. You've got no anti-lock brakes. Oh, I've got a bit of weird coloration going. Oh, I think the sun outside is causing some slight weirdness with my green screen effect. Sorry about that. So I've got a slight sizzle. I'm going to sit back from the sit back from the screen a bit. Oh, there's another one of these Ferdinands which isn't doing anything. Or is it? Oh, that's the other ship. Yeah, that's the other one. So yeah, so MX-5s, no anti-lock brakes, no traction control, nothing like that. Nothing that would help you survive a crash. My one doesn't even have any airbags, so it's really old school stuff. Okay, and so you know, it's a old school 1.8 litre engine. You know, not hugely fast, to be honest, in standard form. You know, tiny little wheels, but it's also rear-wheel drive, which is kind of sort of de rigueur for sports cars, really. So you know, if you put your foot down in the wet on the roundabout, you're going to go sideways, and if you don't know what you're doing, you'll be in a ditch. So that was Healthy Lifestyle Dissolving. Yeah, that's my limited special effects budget. So MX-5 is actually not to be driven by the faint-hearted, because if you get in an MX-5, and particularly an early one, and drive it like a modern car, you will probably kill yourself. Because by modern standards, they are not very safe. They would fold up in an accident, certainly against a modern car, because they're convertible. You know, you've got no safety devices on board at all. No seatbelt pretension. There's no airbags, no anti-lock brakes, no traction control, nothing. Just you in a rear-wheel drive car, and they're quite skittish. Okay, you know, if you aren't gentle with the throttle, and you will be backwards along the road, and you may well find yourself in a hedge. And if you're unlucky, you'll find yourself wrapped around a tree. Now, what I've done with my MX-5, of course, is the height of madness. What I've done is I've bolted a supercharger to it because this is an Anaconda. Nice. Come on, launch the two little chappies at me then. Oh, you didn't bother. Maybe they were broken down. So yeah, so I've put a supercharger on mine. For those of you interested in the tech spec, and you can go and look it up. It's an MP62 supercharger, which is actually really designed for 2 litre engines. So you can see where this is going. And with a bit of fettling and a bit of tweaking and a few other bits and pieces that I've done to it, this little MX-5, which weighs about as much as a biscuit tin. I've got a feeling my green screen filter has gone completely... I wonder if it's crashed, because I can see some sort of backgroundy stuff. So yeah, so my MX-5 weighs about as much as a biscuit tin. Probably has the aerodynamics actually of a biscuit tin, particularly with the roof down, but doesn't really weigh anything at all. Certainly less than a ton. And it now has somewhere, we think, in the order of about 220 brake horsepower. So it's either utterly terrifying or it's actually quite entertaining, depending on your perspective. So that's my MX-5, and it's literally a weekend kind of toy. It's actually in a box in storage at the moment because of lockdown. I was planning to do a bit of work on it, and I haven't been able to get to it. So yes, total boy racer. You're quite right. And the funny thing is, because it's an MX-5, and it's got little friendly pop-up headlights, and I've kept it totally externally stock, other than it's got a slightly bigger exhaust, which is not all that obvious. It's totally nobody knows it's coming. And it's 0 to 60 is probably in the 5-second mark, so it's quite fast. But it's not only dangerous to do it in the wet, to be frank, because it slides all over the shop. But in the dry, it's a bit of a weapon, and it's good fun. So it keeps Porsches honest. Let's put it that way. So good fun. So that's one of my cars. And I like old cars. It's not a car I'd use every day because it's incredibly noisy and it's got no creature comforts in it at all. It has got a stereo, not that you can actually hear it, partly because of the exhaust and partly because of the supercharger. So all those things are things for that. So as you know, I do like mucking about with cars. There we go. Right, so there's no alternative here. We're not triggering this mission, are we? Onwards we go. And I must admit, I'm in a I suppose because I'm getting older. I must admit, I've got in modern cars, and they really leave me quite cold. I don't like. I mean, my wife's car. It's not all that new. It's almost 10 years old, and that's a Passat Volkswagen thing, and it's literally an estate car. We use it for lugging stuff about. And but it's got, when you can't even start it without putting the clutch on the floor and pressing the brake pedal, and then you can start the engine. And before you pull off, it won't do certain things unless you put the seatbelts on. And then it doesn't have a handbrake; it has a button on the dashboard. And if you try and rev it, automatically, unless you're in gear, it won't let you. There's a computer which says no. And that's an older car, and I've been in modern cars, and it's just you get in them and it's just bing 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 bing, you haven't done this, you haven't done that, your phone's not syncing, your traction control system's on, and before you drive away, make sure you click. It's like driving a computer. It's awful, and I hate all that. I really do hate all that. All of my cars start with a key. It just seems to be something that nobody else does anymore. So I don't like and touch screens everywhere and these dashboards with touch screen things. Some people love it, and if you love it, that's absolutely fine. I can't stand it. I like the fact, somebody says under the bonnet. I love the fact under the bonnet of my cars there's a throttle cable, and if you tweak it, you can make the engine rev without touching anything else. That's and I understand how the cars work, and when they go wrong, which they're not unreliable, but things happen. You can fix them. You don't need to plug a computer in them to find out what's going wrong. And the MX-5 is brilliant in that sense, because it literally is a Meccano set. Everything is either a 10mm or a 13mm socket bolt, and that's everything, absolutely everything. So it's trivial. There's lots of space under the bonnet to fix things, and it's and I kind of, in my head, car design in some ways peaked in the 90s, I think, because you got rid of all the unreliability problems that plagued us in the 60s, 70s and 80s. We still had some interesting car shapes that were, because I know it's probably a criticism you can level at cars at any particular point, but they kind of all look the same nowadays. I have no idea what I'm following other than reading on the back, it's a Dacia something or what's the other one, the Daihatsu this, or it's a I don't even recognise some of the manufacturers anymore. So let's buy the missiles. I like to travel with a full stack of missiles. Gives me comfort, even though I don't use them. Save. Onwards we go. Yeah, I'm not sure we're we're there now. Let's go there. It doesn't really matter where we go. We're just trying to rack up kills, aren't we? Yeah, I'm just not a big fan. It's just everything is, the throttle isn't really a throttle. It's all electronic, and I know they're much better for the environment and all that kind of good stuff. But cars don't. I mean, the newest car I've got is my Audi TT, which is that's also a Mark 1. There's a bit of a Mark 1 thing going on for most of my cars. I like the original design, and that's my most modern car. That one actually you can plug into a computer and talk to it. Not very much, but you can ask it things. And I've sort of bought that because it's a really good all-weather car because of its four-wheel drive system. And it's not really a four-wheel drive system, but that's another whole discussion. Let's not get hit by taken out by an alloy. But it's very short-footed in the way, and it's quite quick, and I like quite quick. I sort of have a general rule that I don't drive cars below 200 brake horsepower. Just because I find them frustratingly slow. But I do like older cars, particularly the things with less power than that. Older cars I'll forget, but modern cars no way. Mopping out distributor caps in the pouring rain. You like reliability? Reliability is good, but it doesn't. I don't. See, the thing is, I've got you possibly be seeing me on Twitter and Facebook if you're following me there. We've been restoring a Golf GTI from the 80s, partly for the nostalgia, and partly really because my son is an absolute car nut as well. It's kind of a part of his inheritance really, because he can't afford to buy one at the moment because he's saving for a house and all the stuff that young people have to do. And by the time he can afford to buy one, they'll be ridiculously expensive because they're heading into collector's territory now. They'll be double the price in a few years' time. So it's kind of a bit of an investment for him, but partly by the time he can afford to insure it himself, he won't be able to buy one. So I've sort of bought it now with the idea that he'll have it in a few years' time. But we've been fixing it and putting it back on the road. So it's now sitting on my driveway under a cover, waiting to be taxed and insured for driving. Which, of course, because I'm an old man now, is very cheap, relatively. But we haven't driven it yet. And I drove Golf GTIs and things back in the 80s and 90s. So I'm quite looking forward to what that's actually like, because I imagine it's going to be slightly rose-tinted view. Now, on one hand, you've got this Golf GTI 16 valve, which of course was their top of the range car back in 1988. And it had an astonishing 139 brake horsepower from a car that 1.8, which back then was pretty serious stuff. Of course, now it's no more daunting than a sandwich. And it does 0 to 60 in 8 seconds. I mean, there are diesel estates that can easily do 0 to 60 in less than that. But by fast car standards, it's not anymore. But in of itself, it's still hopefully it's still a fun car. So it's going to be interesting to see what it's actually like after 30 years of time has gone past. So a 205 1.9, yeah. Now those were actually better than the Golfs. I'm a bit of a Volkswagen Audi fan, but I will pay homage to the Peugeot 205 because it is the 205 is probably, I think, certainly its 1.9 form is probably the best hot hatch there ever was. I don't think nowadays it will ever be bettered. And because a hot hatch to me is really an 80s phenomenon. You took the average model in the range, you stuck a bigger engine in it, some go faster stripes, lowered the suspension, put some bigger wheels on it, and some slightly better brakes, and boom, hot hatch. Okay. It started getting very silly in the 90s because you start introducing four-wheel drive and bespoke this and cup versions and all that kind of stuff. And you want that's not, to me, that isn't what a hot hatch is. So I kind of do consider the 205 and probably the Mark II Golf, the one we've got, as the best hot hatches that ever there were. And I don't think you can, I mean, you can still buy a GTI and a whatever today, and they're very, very fast and they're very, very good cars, no doubt about that. But they're not really in the spirit of the original cars because they're loaded down with traction control and air conditioning and all the stuff that we expect on modern cars. And this, that, and the other, and they're just not raw enough to be as fun. So the 80s. Maybe the early 90s is, to me, is where the hot hatches really were a proper thing. So there we go. So yes, 205, thumbs up, huge thumbs up. I've never driven one. I'd like to drive a 1.9 GTI. Never driven one. Chased a couple, but not actually driven one. So yeah, I should really do a stream, or cars of the 80s, shouldn't we? Oh yeah, Lotus car. No, so there are some amazing cars from that generation, because actually the 80s is where sorry for those of you who are a bit bored about car talk, but it's another one of those things from the 80s where things really took, because in the 70s cars were rubbish. Okay, cars were utter rubbish in the 70s. They were breaking down. They were British, well, at least in the UK they were. Cars were rubbish in the 70s. They were always breaking down. They were unreliable. They rusted. Okay, they were just. Oh yeah, car. Do 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 do. Sorry, that's another 80. Can I play it? No. No. Something like that, anyway. You know what I mean? That was Gary Newman, wasn't it? Gary Newman, yeah, there we go, Gary Newman. But yeah, so cars in the 70s were rubbish. Okay, cars in the 70s were generally rubbish. In fact, probably about the only reliable car was a Beetle. And then the Japanese came. Okay, then the Japanese came with things like the Toyota Corolla and Toyota this, that, and the other. And Honda this and Honda that. And they taught everybody in the 70s that you could make a reliable car. Okay, they didn't look great. They were derivative designs based on what the Japanese thought the Europeans wanted, but they were reliable. Okay, and that was a big deal in the 70s. Here, for the first time ever, you could get in your car, drive somewhere, and be able to get back home on the same day. That was unheard of in the 70s. I remember my dad driving to places, in things like Austin 1100s and minis and things like that. And you would take toolkits with you, and you would expect, when you went away for the weekend, you'd spend Friday getting the car ready, psyching it up for the trip, go to wherever you would hope you got there, didn't break down, but Saturday you'd spend it wherever you were, and then Sunday you'd be prepping the car to make sure it get you home again. And that was just normal in the 70s. That's how it was. And then suddenly the Japanese came up with this amazing idea that maybe cars could be reliable, and that you would just get in them and drive. I mean, it was Star Trek sort of stuff, What a crazy notion that is. What a reliable car. And so the Japanese came in and showed us this, and then the British basically said, we're not doing this, and we had all sorts of problems with our car industry, which was partly down to mismanagement and partly down to militant unions, and depending on which side of the political fence you sit on, one or other of those is true. Okay, but basically the British car industry could never compete with this and effectively wiped itself out. And hence everything is either Japanese, German, or kind of something else nowadays. And the Germans came in with things like the Golf, and that was reliable as well. And so we had this idea suddenly that cars could be reliable and you could depend upon them. So yeah, so then in the 80s, then there was a bit of one-upmanship going on. Yeah, depending on what you had on your cars were probably in the 80s even more of a status symbol than they are now, because we have other things to status symbol about. I think in the nowadays, whereas cars are a big deal, partly because there was this thing, particularly in the UK, called the company car, and the company car was that the company you worked for, if you got to a certain rank, i.e., you were a manager or slightly higher up, the company would buy you a car, and they would generally buy you a car better than what you'd normally be able to afford. So having a company car was quite a big deal. Okay, and so you would have cars given to you by the company. Oh, I've got a company car. Okay, well, everyone was like, ooh, so you're going up in the world, okay? Because you had a company car. Having a company car was like, ooh, yeah, he's doing all right. He's on the up. So that was all kind of good stuff. So in the 80s, then it all became about what company car you had, of course. And so manufacturers got into this sort of tit-for-tat performance spec race. And so what you'd see on the back is that your base car, your average car, would just have like a L or a G or something on the back. So you'd have a Golf L, which was kind of it didn't stand for low, but it kind of meant low spec. Okay, so you'd have wind-up windows, 4-speed gearbox and things like that. Whereas if you were a company car, you'd probably have the GL. Okay, so the GL was the better one, which might have electric windows and 2-door mirrors, things like that, and maybe a 5-speed gearbox. And that was he's got the GL model. So the letters on the back of the car were really, really important. And then they and some Bitstorms just put it in. Then the I became important. Okay. Oh, and the gear badge. So you had all these extra badges. Right? So then the I came in. So then that meant you had a fuel injected car. Okay, which was better. It didn't matter what it really meant. It just meant it was better. Okay, so if you had a fuel injected car, then it was better than the average car. Okay, so a GLI, he's got the GLI model. That's even better than the GL. And then the GTI came along, which was the sporty version. Okay, then you had the GTI version with red stripes. Everything had to have red stripes and black trim in the 80s. And so you'd have these cars. Oh, he's got the GTI. That's even better. And then GLX, which was kind of better than the GL. All these things. Okay, so if you look at any 80s cars, at the beginning of the 80s they just had a few letters, and by the end of the 80s they had loads. Because it just got more and more complicated, and you could end up with things like the Ford XR3 or XR2i 16V turbo. These things were stuck along the back of the car to make it better than the one that had gone before. GLXI. So you start with an L, GL, GLX, GLXI, GTI, XXI. There was even one, the Daihatsu something called the GTTI, which was a GTI with a turbo. And they all had big turbo signs down the side of the car to make them look cool. That was cool in the 80s. Okay, lots of black trim. Red stripes and turbo monikers on the side of your car. Then you were going places. And so every couple of years or so there was a new thing that you had to get to be cool and the top of the tree. So the first one that came on was the I. Okay, if you had an I on the back of your car, it basically stood for I'm better. So an I was really, really important. Okay, then it became 16V. So that meant you had a 16-valve engine, which was a big deal in the 80s. Okay, so if you had a 16-valve engine, you were better than everybody else who had the ordinary 8-valve engine. Nobody knew what it meant. Some people said it was voltage, which it wasn't. But 16 valves obviously is better than 8, right? So that's how it was done. And then the turbos came out. Then the 4-wheel drive, and then 1.8 obviously isn't enough, so you need the 2.0. And then it became V6, so you had a V6 engine. It just kept going on, on and on and on, into about the mid-90s when it all stopped, and cars became a bit more boring again. But because they all became really difficult to insure at that point in time, and that was a problem. Right, so let's try one. Let's go through one more system. It's getting completely. It would be ironic at this point if we actually trigger the mission. Which way do we want to go? We're a little bit in the dead end here. I think we want to go down. Let's go down to Soberty. Let's go there. We'll stop in Soberty today. So yeah, so Carl's went through this really kind of. Oh yeah, and of course nowadays you still got VTEC, yo. Is that from Mighty Car Mods? I love that show. With the unicorns and the VTEC, yeah. So yeah, you still got all those sort of buzzwords. It's like that. Oh, this is it! This is it, guys. We've got it. This is the Supernova mission. Whoa! How about that? Right at the end of the stream. Right, fuel leak. Okay, what do I do? I think I've got to go to the space station. Mayday, Coriolis in danger. Oh, so we triggered the mission. Yay! Right, Coriolis in danger. So we got to get to the space station. Actually, I'm going to save. Let me save the game at this point. There we go. I'll put a note on it. Right, so let's get to the space station. We have the mission. The sun has gone red. Coriolis in danger. Awesome. Right, so I've got to get to the Coriolis space station. So I presume I can dock with it. Yeah. There we go. Look at this. Docking computer's on. Right, so what happens? What happens? What do I do? Aren't I supposed to be prompted to pick up some... Let's sell some slaves here. What do I do? Am I supposed to... Okay, buy some fuel. I can't buy fuel. Okay. I've got the docking computers and there's no fuel here. So, alright, there we go. The sun is going nova. So when I try and buy some cargo... There we are. When I try and buy some cargo, it comes up with this. The sun is going nova. Will you save us? What do you reckon, guys? Yeah, all right then. Right, a large cargo bay full of refugees. Okay. Well, I might go back and play it a minute and find out what happens if I say no. Right, so presumably I can't buy fuel, which is interesting. So it forces me into Galaxy 3 at this point. So I think what I've got to do is launch and press the galactic hyperspace drive to get out of Dodge. Because I think if I don't, what happens is I die. So I think I've got to immediately press... There we go, look, there comes the sun. And I just make it out in time. Galactic hyperspace. We have triggered the first mission. How awesome is that? We did it. We did it. Right, let me get a save. That was it. That was the mission. We haven't quite finished it yet. So let's save the. We've got to save these refugees, right? We have a cargo hold full of refugees, which we've now got to transport presumably safely to a Coriolis space station. So let's do that, and let's get the end of the mission. And next week, then we might play. We might play around with that mission a little bit. I'm so glad that triggered right at the end there. Because of course, the first time you see that, you hyperspace in and everything's gone red. You're kind of wondering what on earth do you do? And you have a fuel leak. Oops! Oh, of course, a cargo hold full of refugees. Oops. Let's get to the space station. I think we just get given some money. Pretty sure that's what we get. But we'll find out when we get there. So, oh, almost there. So yeah, the star growing there was very cool. It was indeed. I'm so glad that happened on the stream. Good way to end the stream, right? I couldn't really have done that better, to be honest. It's just I had no idea what it was going to trigger. It just decided to trigger then. So that was cool. So these poor occupants here are probably wondering, what's this guy doing? Because now I like to literally have a cargo full of refugees. So yeah, it's pretty incredible they crammed those sort of missions in. Now this is the first of 3 missions, okay? So there we go. We've triggered the first mission. So that is very cool. Let's get to the space station. And with a bit of luck, we'll get the S. Where's the S? There it is. Right, so we get to the space station, and I'm guessing we sell. You have saved our lives! Thank you, Commander. That's good. It might have happened 20 minutes earlier, apart from the car talk. Sorry about that, yeah. But hey, it's a sort of 80s nostalgia stream. What do we do now? Do we sort of... And they've given us 100 gemstones. Oh, that's nice. No, Bitstorm. So this is the Spectrum. I think it's a Spectrum only mission. The missions are different on all the different platforms. So on the BBC and the Commodore 64, I'm pretty sure we have the Constrictor mission, which is chasing a badass ship around the galaxy and eventually killing it, and then some Thargoid plans where you've got to smuggle some plans from one side of the galaxy to the other, and the Thargoids interdict you all along the way. Those, I think, are the only missions on the BBC and the C64. On the Spectrum, we believe, and we're not sure, we believe there are 3 missions. They're different. So the first one is the one we've literally just triggered, which is the Supernova mission. So that's the one that we've just had. The second mission on the Spectrum is hunting down an asp with a cloaking device, which when you shoot it, it gives you a cloaking device. Awesome. And then the third mission on the Spectrum, we believe, is a Thargoid infested space station, which you have to go and destroy, which is quite cool. Okay, sounds quite cool anyway. So the Supernova mission, we believe, is unique to the Spectrum and probably anything else that was using a Z80 CPU. The reason they were different is that the BBC and the Commodore 64 versions were, well, the BBC version was written by David Braben and Ian Bell, obviously. The Commodore 64 version was a port done by David Braben and Ian Bell, so they didn't change it too much. But the Spectrum version isn't a port; it's a rewrite, because the architecture of the computers are totally different, by another company, Taurus in this case, a year later than the BBC version. So it is a different code base, and apparently, according to Ian Bell's website, which is worth checking out, it says on there that when the games were ported to different platforms, the missions that the programmers put in, Ian Bell sort of said to them, make up your own thing, have fun, see what you can come up with. And so that's why the missions in all the different versions, the original Elite, are different. So they give us 100 grams of gemstones, which doesn't sound very much, but if you look at the price list, gemstones are 21 grams, 21 credits per gram. So they've given us about, 2,000 credits. So that's all right. So let's sell that. Oh, well, I can't even sell them all in one go. Won't let me. There we go. There we go. We've done it right. That's pretty good, isn't it? So let's buy some fuel. We're now, of course, in Galaxy 3, because we had to galactic chart out. It's the only way it forces you into the next galaxy, because you can't buy any fuel and you have a fuel leak on the way in. That's programmed into the game, so it forces you into Galaxy 3. So which is the stage for presumably the next mission. So we'll see. We're now forced into Galaxy 3. This is really good. So so there we go. You have seen the first mission on the Spectrum, the Supernova mission. So I think that was pretty cool for an 8-bit computer. It was quite exciting, wasn't it? The sun exploding, and very, very cool. I enjoyed that. That was good. So there we go. That's where we're going to end up today. We are still fugitive. We're now in chart 3. We've got 10,000 credits. Everything on board, and the energy bomb and so on and so forth. So yeah, so there we go. Awesome stuff. I really enjoyed that. That was good. Thank you again ever so much for your company. Hope you enjoyed that. Hopefully there'll be somebody could clip that actually, that Supernova bit. That would be really cool. So that would be good, and I might see if I can go back and take some screen grabs of that, because obviously I managed to capture it on my stream as well. So so there we are. Number 1 mission. We have it for posterity. I'm going to clip that little bit also for YouTube and put it up separately as well as the mainstream, because the objective of this for me was to capture the original missions and put them all together. So there we go. Mission number 1 is achieved. We've 2 more missions to go. So that's cool. Awesome stuff. And a bit of 80s nostalgia about cars as well. So there's always going to be some aspects of 80s nostalgia to the stream. That's just the way it is. So there we go. Thank you very much, my friends. Have yourself a very, very good weekend. Take care, and I will see you all. Actually, I won't see you on Monday. Monday is a bank holiday here in the UK, so I'm not going to be streaming that day. So back on Thursday for the Elite Dangerous Law Tour, which is going to be all about the Alliance. So stay tuned for that. Otherwise, take care of yourselves. Have a great one. Be good, and I will see you all soon.